Okay, and we are rolling. Welcome, guys. Today is 10/7, October 7th, 2025. For anybody who might be catching this recording in the future, we are in a beautiful and powerful, so powerful window and time of humanity. For those of you who have been struggling, who have going through your awakening process, for those of you who are just realizing and recognizing you're here for a bigger purpose, you are about to embark on the energy that's going to be supporting you for the purpose that you're here. And that's what we're going to be talking about today with the Three Eye Atlas comet coming through, as well as the golden intersection of timelines, which my friend Makua will be talking about. And my name is Krystina. You might find me on Instagram as the Quantum Healing Coach. I am a divine channel. I connect right to source, as well as many other beings and galactic beings and energies all around us, including Mother Gaia, and I receive information. I'm also a celestial Reiki master. My mission and my goal here in this world is to help you, as many of you as possible, to remember the truth of who you are. Doesn't mean you have to remember all of your lifetimes, but my goal is to help you remember that you are a soul embodied here for a higher purpose, so that we can all together restore and shift the consciousness of humanity by restoring the compassion in the hearts of humans, so that they begin to see a new way and we can bridge a new way of being together, aka New Earth. And I want to just say, New Earth happens through us, not for us. And that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about today and what is exactly happening for us. If you're ever interested in a session, I do offer sessions. I have a link you can find below. I offer one-on-one sessions, and I also offer attunements or activations for the 3 levels of celestial Reiki. So you can become beginner, intermediate, or master. We also have Ishel in the chat section. So hats off to Ishel Esta. She's in our chat. And for those of you catching this recording later, this won't really apply to you. But for those of you who are here now, please feel free to communicate with her. She is the beloved of Makua, who I will introduce in a minute and hand it over to him. And she is going to be answering questions that come up, but then also offering you your galactic signature, which I'll let Makua fill you in on more. I just ask that you please be respectful and realize that we're here for an hour. So take your time, meaning if everybody pops their birthdays in there now, she's going to be flooded. So maybe take your time over the course of the hour and see when there's a little bit of space. And you can find out your galactic signature, which is basically your overall archetype as a soul of why you're here. And today, like I said, we're going to talk about Three Eye Atlas, the golden intersection of timelines. I'm going to be offering you channeled information and what I was seen and have been shown about Three Eye Atlas and its importance of and why it's coming through now for the golden intersections of timelines. So now I'm going to hand it over to Mercura, let him share anything he feels called to share and anything I might have missed. And then we're going to get started with an energy clearing.
Amazing. And thank you. Yes. Wow. So much to share, and so grateful to be here and be present with each of you. As she mentioned, Ishel can help decode any of you who are interested to learn what's called your galactic signature. And this is an indication of your purpose. And it's a helpful marker. It just gives you a sense of where you connect with the tapestry of synchronicity that is happening right now. And when you know your galactic signature, you begin to actually have a perspective on this other harmonious order of creation. It's quite an interesting thing to learn about. And then you get to see yourself and where you show up in these cycles and the sacred weaving. Not only yourself, but also other people and the relationship you may have with them, family members, co workers, whomever, anybody. You can decode anybody and any event. And in so doing, you get to see another lens onto synchronicity and harmony. And so that's what we hope on some level you're able to take away from today's conversation as well. Part of even being aware of the golden intersection of timelines is the purpose and the focus on greater harmony, right? So, yeah, hopefully that resonates. And I'm excited about this energy clearing, though, certainly. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And me too. And we'll do that in just a minute. I just want to remind you guys, for all of you who signed up, whether you're catching the recording or this now, uh, in your email, if you're interested in a session with me to have an energy clearing, to have a personal activation, there's a special offering for an $88 session for 30 minutes. And that's only available to those of you who are here. And I'm offering that because I know if you signed up for this, whether you're catching the live or the recording, you're serious about what's happening. And my goal and my role and my mission is to activate those of you who are here to activate others. So we can all get everybody's souls online coming in. So please stay tuned for that. There'll also be us offering for the Light Warrior Rise and Shine package, which is $22. It's 6+ hours of material for me to help you with your soul, to help you understand why you're here, to help you with your any physical issues, emotional issues, overthinking, looping thinking, cutting cords, understanding negative energies and psychic attacks and how to navigate them. This is my, basically, you could say, end of the year sale. It's a bundle of everything that I've taught in the last 2 years that you're going to get for $22. So if that interests you, that link will also be in your email. And to find Mikuak, again, it's Galactic Spin, and his links will also be in the email. So you'll find, and Ishelle's links will be in the email for more personal reading. So, all right, all of the announcements out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with the energy clearing. And we're going to do the way I'm going to do this, and this is all, everything I do is guided by spirit. So I was in a deep meditation this morning. Source would like to do an energy clearing before we get started and kind of and do a thing where we open your minds and your hearts, so that as you're hearing this information today, you're able to take it in and it will basically be absorbed in you over time. And then it will continue to activate more codes for those of you who are ready and open to receive it. And then at the end of today's transmission, we're going to do an activation to activate your connection to the golden threads of timelines or timeline, and your timeline specifically, and the timeline for the collective to create the most harmonious one, as well as a connection to Three Eye Atlas, because it is here to seed new consciousness. So if you're aware of that and you're connected to it, over the next 2 months, you can be receiving lots and lots and lots of information. So whether you're catching the recording or here for the live, it will still be beneficial for you. All right, so I'm just going to ask you all, wherever you are, just kind of shake it out, right? When we're doing energy work, we've always got to shake out any tension, shake out any anything that's stored in our body. So just kind of do a gentle shake of your body wherever you are. Take a nice deep centering breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Again, in through your nose, out through your mouth. And one more time, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And if you can, visualize tree roots or cords coming out of the bottom of your feet, connecting you to the center of Mother Gaia. Just see them or feel them or know that it's happening, and connect to the center of Mother Gaia, feeling any energy that you have in you, just going into Mother Gaia, helping your connection to her to be bridged, feeling completely safe in this world. And you're just going to hear me activate the Reiki that I work with, and then I'm going to channel through the clearing. Activate celestial Reiki from 125 above my crown chakra to my heart. Activate celestial Reiki from 125 below my root chakra to my heart. Activate 188 above my crown to my heart, below my root to my heart. Thank you. And there's this beautiful energy coming in, swirling white light coming down over your crown chakra. And as it comes down over your crown chakra, it's almost like a twist or a tornado that's pouring in through your crown chakra. And it's going to pause in your crown chakra. So if you can, feel, see, or imagine a beautiful white light swirling inside of your mind. See it acting as a vacuum. And this is acting as a vacuum to attract to it any worries, any thoughts, any concerns that you might be feeling. any connections or cords that you have to another, any fears of being in this world, any fears of being here today, any fears at all. Just allow yourself to feel and see this white light swirling in your mind. And as it does, it's attracting to it everything that you need to let go of that will prevent you from being fully present and here today, or that is bothering in you in your life at all. And now see this white light beginning to swirl down through your neck, through your heart. And as it swirls through your throat, it's taking with it any and all things that you might have said that you regret, any and all things that you haven't said and you wish you could, anything that's on your voice, that's on your mind that you want to speak, but you just feel like you couldn't or you shouldn't, or maybe it's the not right time, whatever's going on in your world where you cannot speak the truth. It's time to let it go, beautiful soul. And now let this energy come down into your heart, and it's going to attract to it any and all heartbreak, any and all heartache, any of the sadnesses or grief that you might be feeling disturbing you from what's going on in the world, from what's going on in your own life. See these energies, see these emotions, let them go. Let them go. Let me remind you, you are a soul having an experience here. And the more you can let go of the connections to what's happening around you, the easier it is for you to feel more connected to what you're here to do. Now let this energy move down into your solar plexus. And as it goes into your solar plexus, let it attract to it any and all concerns of trusting the truth of who you are, trusting your power, trusting your source, trusting what it is you are here to do. Let it move into the hips. And as it moves into the hips, let it attract to it all of the shame and the unworthiness that you might have been carrying in this lifetime. You've never done anything so shameful that you need to hold on to it. You are a worthy being sent here by the Most High, sent here by God. You are a worthy being sent here to bring your energy into this world for all you are here to create. And it is time, beautiful soul, to let this energy go, this shame and this feeling of unworthiness. So many of you humans carry it and you need to let it go. You are beautiful. You are essence of true source. Remember. Now let this energy move down into your root chakra and any and all ways that you are feeling fearful, afraid, too caught up in the 3D life that is causing pause, that is causing fear and preventing you from doing what you need to do. Let that be attracted into this white light like a vacuum and let it go. You are protected at all times. Once you trust it, you will find the energies will rise as you need them to. Now let this energy move down your legs and take with it any and all ways that you feel afraid, concerned, overwhelmed, unsure, uncertain to walk and to live in your truth. Let this energy attract to it any and all memories, feelings, thoughts of, but this didn't happen, but why didn't it happen? But how do I know what I'm supposed to do or where I'm supposed to go? All you need to do is be here. So let all of these feelings, worries, and concerns go. And now finally, let it settle into your feet. And as it swirls in your feet, allow it to attract to it any and all energy that is creating fear, concern, worry, for standing in your power, for remembering the truth of your I am presence, because you are, in fact, sent by the Most High, by the very creator of all worlds, prime creator, for this very moment. And it is time for you to activate and remember the truth of who you are. And now let this energy slip out of the bottom of your feet. And as it does, see it go right into source cosmos energy, just disappearing, dissipating, returning to the well of all, the well of everything. Good. Now bring your attention back to over the top of your head. And there's a beautiful golden stream of energy coming down, almost like gold and glitter. Allow yourself to feel the warmth of it as it begins to sprinkle upon your crown, the warmth of it as it begins to sprinkle into your third eye, into your throat, into your heart. into your solar plexus, your sacral, and your root. And if you feel comfortable, and to whatever degree you feel comfortable, allow these golden sprinkles to create openings like a doorway or a bunch of mini doorways, opening your energy field to the transmissions, the knowledge, the codes you're about to receive today, so that they may permeate your energy field and activate you in the days and the weeks to come. It is safe. You are in a sacred and safe space, placing a barrier around all of us as if we are in the quantum field as one. So no one will harm you, and we will close this out before we close today. Anybody catching the recording, because you are connected to my voice, you are connected to the very sound, and therefore the quantum field of this happening in this very time space now. And set the intention, if you feel aligned to, that you are open to receiving the codes that will be transmitted here today for the purpose of your own personal remembrances and what you are here to do. And so it is. And so it is. Go ahead and bring your consciousness back to the room that you're in, remembering where the walls are, remembering where you're sitting, feeling your hands and your feet, feeling the rise and the fall of your chest. And when you feel ready, go ahead and open your eyes. Good. Hopefully you guys were able to connect with that okay. And for anybody who doesn't know or hasn't been with Mikuak and I before, we are both reflectors in human design. So I don't know if you know much about reflectors, but when you're hearing reflectors speak or share, it's magnified, right? So, and I say that because the last time I did a workshop with Mikuak, it was funny because I've never co-hosted anything with another reflector, and I was basically like high for 2 days, and the information was just coming in, and I'd heard people tell me that about myself as well, but I hadn't yet experienced it. So you have two reflectors here. So just be aware that while you're sitting here in your chair, wherever you are, and you're just kind of like, yeah, whatever, lady. um, the information, my voice, Makua's voice carries codes, energy, photon particles that are igniting remembrances inside of you. So just be open to that as the days flow after, and allow yourself to connect with what feels resonant, let go of what doesn't, and simply use it like to activate yourself. You can even maybe space off as you're listening to us talk, stare at a wall, stare at something closer to you so that you're in your own space. So you're not getting that blue light coming from the computer, right? And that way it's like you're receiving it as if you're receiving it from your higher self. So because we're in a very important time, and yeah, I just want to make sure you guys receive as much as you can from this. And before I get started on 3i Atlas, I just want to ask Mikuak if he has anything to offer or say or ask about anything that we need to know. And then if not, I'll go into 3i Atlas.
Well, thank you for sharing that context about the reflector situation. Just for people to appreciate that it's happening. And also, what's more is there's just one day between our birthdays. So not only we're two reflectors, we're like reflectors on the same band or wavelength and in the same wave spell or 13-day cycle. So just for people getting their galactic signature decoded, for example, my galactic signature is kin 126, which is white solar world bridger. And then yours is the very next day, being that your birthday is the very next day, kin 127, blue planetary hand. Pardon me, hitting the mic.
Yeah.
Blue planetary hand. So I think it's beautiful that it's two reflectors on the same wavelength, same literal wave spell, with this opportunity to share at this particular point in time. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and if you want to understand more about that, then go ahead and ask in the chat. That's exactly what Michelle's here for, which is awesome because it's a lot of information. It's powerful to understand. So, and I had to make notes because I did channel this information, but so much came through. And if anybody else here has a channel, especially with these types of transmissions, there's so much information that can come through. It can literally make you dizzy at times. And I recorded myself speaking, um, but because it's so fragmented in what came through, I went ahead and made notes after. So you'll see me referring to my pad simply because I don't want to miss anything that's important. All right, so 3 Eye Atlas. And just so you guys know, the primary dates of when we're going to have the experience of it will be October 29th. We're already feeling the effects of it, but October 29th to December 21st, basically the winter solstice. These times that it's going to be going through our galaxy is when it's the most potent. And when I tuned into it, I'm going to share you exactly what I saw, but then I want to share with you the importance of it, the what, the why, the how, and the how you can navigate all of it. Because for me, it's one thing to see something, but if I don't know what to do with the information, then I don't find it particularly helpful. So when I tuned into 3 Eye Atlas, what I've shown is that there are tens of thousands of formless celestial beings or consciousness from 9D consciousness and higher. It is here to restore our true codes, the true codes of humanity and the remembrances. And that's what I'm going to get into, what that actually means. But again, it's 9D consciousness beings and higher, formless. So we're talking about, when we're talking about 9D consciousness, that's the celestial beings, the angels. For those of you who are in connection with various beings like Andromedans, Arcturians, we're talking about beings from this very consciousness level, and not all of them, because a lot of these races can move in and out of dimensions. Okay, but basically, we're talking about 9D consciousness and higher. And why is it happening? Because Source decided it's time. Source decided it's time, and this has very much to do with the Git, or the golden intersection of timelines, which Maku is going to get into. These two are very closely connected. Okay, I just want to offer to you so that you know, I remember the future as if it were my past. I'm one of those, some people would call me one of those time travelers, right? And a lot of you might have this experience here as well. If you were to ask me 2 years ago the future of humanity, I saw the world not making it. And I'm not meaning that in a bad way to scare you, but I'm saying that we were heading on that trajectory 2 to 3 years ago. We were heading on that trajectory, even with the call out from Mother Gaia back in the 40s for help, that so many of the star seeds started to come in, wave one, wave two, wave three. Even with all of that, it had still not, and even with the harmonic convergence of 1987, where things were put on the right trajectory, it had still not fully been decided if humanity was basically, I don't want to say worth saving, but if there was enough to work with to save, because there was so much darkness, you could say. And it's important to remember that the darkness and the light are both God. God, creator, prime creator, source consciousness, whatever you want to call it, is a being. It's the being of everything. It's the being that's in the fabric of the wall behind me, the fabric of my shirt, the fabric of your body. It's the basically the energy that weaves in and out of everything. Source consciousness, and this would be another YouTube, which maybe I'll get into if you stay tuned to my page. Source consciousness eons ago decided to split itself into dark and light. Basically, I want to experience myself. No difference than if you decide you want to, live as a professional during the daytime, but then go out to a biker bar at night or some type of bar and just have a good time and let it rip. That's you exploring your two sides. Source consciousness decided to do this as well. That's where you get it from. By the way, you are both all dark. You are all both dark and light. So source consciousness decided eons ago to split itself. And so here we are. We are at the convergence point where we are restoring the fabric, basically infusing. Imagine what's the way it's shown to me is, imagine a yin and a yang symbol beginning to bleed together, the white into the black into the white, and turning all these beautiful colors of silver and gray and whatever else, and for the purpose of creating more harmony and eventually having more consciousness resolution. And unfortunately, it does create consciousness. We do need consciousness confusion to lead to consciousness resolution. And that's what this whole process has been about. But again, just to back up and reiterate what I'm saying, Source itself, God itself, has basically sent out a league of beings, celestial beings, formless beings who you could say are so connected to source. It's like they're the first row of the army, right? The first row of God's army are being sent here in formless consciousness. They are inside the three-eye atlas and around it. You could also say three-eye atlas was what is called terraformed, meaning it's of organic material, but it was all organic material brought together to create the comet to contain the consciousness in it. And for anybody who's interested and might know, all comets, if you ever pay attention, all comets, including even the Halley's Comet when it comes through, all comets seed something new. And if you ever look back in the trajectory of humanity, you will notice when a comet comes, then something big shifts or happens, or maybe something little, but it creates that pebble in the pond effect. So every time we have a comet come through, including the Swan comet, which is also part of this, it's been shown to me that Swan, think about a Swan is here to restore feminine masculine codes. And then the three-eye atlas is here to restore the ancient codes, which I'm about to get into. So that's what it's here doing. Um, what is going to happen is as it comes through our atmosphere, it's going to be closest to our sun around October 29th, and it's going to be closest to Earth, as I understand it, closer to in December. As it comes closer to the sun, and the sun is doing its job, which is connected to the galactic sun, which is prime creator. As it comes closest to the sun, it's going to be basically, you could say, like chemtrailing us with good codes, right? Because we all know chemtrails are real. Um, but this is going to be the codes, the chemtrails of good codes, God codes, being restored into our atmosphere. And I'm receiving right now that many of you, as I'm talking, will begin to remember this in the days to come. You'll know that this was part of the plan, because again, it's been decided that humans trajectory is going towards the golden timeline. And by the way, that was decided in the eclipse of April of 2023. That was when the light won on the fourth and fifth dimensional planes. And since then it's been working its way down, which is why things have been getting more intense. So as it goes through our atmosphere, it is going to be sprinkling us with God codes. Now, it's important to remember it's going to take time to come into our atmosphere. Many of you might feel it right away, especially those of you who are like, whoof, I think we just had a solar flare. Whoof, I think that the Schumann resonance just popped off, because you're so connected, you can feel it, right? But then for some of us, and I do that too, but then there are other codes, and then there are other days where the energies are a little bit more tense or icky. What's going to happen is it's going to be working its way to our grid system. And even though you can't see it all around Earth, there's energetic grids that are connected to the ley lines, just like the meridian lines in your body. And as these codes begin to matriculate into the grids, especially those of you who are grid workers or feel called to be grid workers, this is where you want to be spending that time in nature. You just want to open your antenna up and receive. Seriously, just open your antenna up and focus on receiving, because it will take time for it to come into your body, and then the information, the codes, just like your phone has to go through a process where you have to learn how to do what you need to do with the app once it's put on there. It takes your body and your mind a little bit of time to receive those codes, in which time you can go through some pretty intense emotional processes, right? This is the stuff I help you guys with in session. Those emotions are coming up because it's that energy and motion that's trying to kick up those codes in your genetics and in your quantum field to restore the remembrances and the truth of who you are. And then after the emotions clear and the fog clears, that's when you're like, oh, I got a great idea. Oh, I think I'm supposed to do this, right? And that's when all the beauty and the magic can begin to happen. So just know this is a process. You will have days where you're like, whoop, I'm so connected. And then you'll have days, depending on how the energies are, where it will take a little bit of time to matriculate into you, but it's going to be working its way through our grid system. And it's going to be working for good. I mean, it's going to be the strongest while it's here, but this is going to permanently change our grid system. So this is the shift. This is the beginning of the shift that you're here for. That's why I say this is such an important transmission, because those of you who have been like, why is life so hard? I don't know what's happening. Why are my emotions all over the place? Why can't I pay my bills? What's going on in my love life? What's going on in my body? This is the reason why. This is why you came. This is why you've been suffering so much, because all of the stuff you've been suffering and working through is working its way out of you. It's the trauma, it's the collective trauma that's in your gene codes. It's the past life or parallel life traumas that you've experienced that's in your quantum field that your DNA is trying to clear out. And it's also whatever it is that you've gone through in this life that your soul would have chosen to go through for the purpose of you going through your remembrance process. In other words, it's like a breadcrumb trail. You place those breadcrumbs there for yourself, where you go through that breakup or that shakeup, or you lose all your money, or you get super sick and you go deep into yourself because it's so stinking hard. And then on the other side of it, you're like, wow, I have all these new knowings, because you just cleared out all of the trauma that was basically an overload of bucket from genetic, from your galactic, your soul history, all of it. So just understand that everything you've been through is for what we are about to go through right now as we receive these new codes. Why now? Because of the golden intersection of timelines, which Makua is going to beautifully explain shortly. This, like I said, it's been decided. The way this works, and I want to invite you guys to think about Yeshua, Jesus. Yeshua was a star seed. And I don't really love that term, by the way, because I feel like some people use it as to create a disassociation from their human self. And they get so caught up in their star seed self that they forget that the purpose of a star seed is because you have access to your Andromedan, Arcturian, Pleiadian, whomever codes and higher consciousnesses and other lifetime experiences to bring through this body, right? You may feel like you have ADD, like you have all these ideas and voices talking to you all the time. And that's all the different versions of yourself in your prismic, like quantum field or auric field, that is trying to offer you codes. That's basically you in other places and spaces. But the truth of who you are is exactly this. You are this beautiful being of light. That's why I like to use this picture. You are this beautiful being of light that is having this experience in a human body. And you have these threads. You see these little threads of colors of energy. These little threads of energy, much like what Stephen Hawking's talk about, the string theory, which is a great book and will trip a lot of your memories up if you can read it. These are the strings of consciousness that connect you to the various forms of who you are, your Pleiadian self, your Andromedan self, your Lyran self, your past life self here in the 1700s, because technically everything is existing simultaneously. And ultimately, this is the truth of who you are, and this never changes. But you have these strings. Think of it like when we're kids and we play that telephone game, and you can be like, hey, I got some information for you. That's how these strings of information work. And so as you are clearing stuff out, you're opening up your strings of consciousness. So it's important to remember that while, yes, you can remember your galactic histories. I remember many of my past lifetimes. I remember my most prominent life where I'm not even in a form. It makes it really hard to be in a body sometimes. And that's why I'm saying this, because if you're so connected to what you are there or there, you're not connected to what you are here. And so while it's beautiful to remember your starseed experiences, it's important to remember the purpose of it is so that you have the embodiment of those consciousnesses in this body. You connect to these strings of energy for what you're here to do, for what you're here to bring forth, right? And that's what this whole thing is about. And that's why now this is the call to help that Mother Gaia sent out in the 1940s, that we all had the beautiful Dolores Cannon share with us. And many of you might even have other resources or have remembrances of it. That call went out because it was time. The humans had reached a point where their consciousness was beginning to go either one way or the other. They were basically learning how to split atoms, and they needed help. It's like the children just were running around. This is how it's shown to me. The children were running around with a loaded gun and the safety off. And so Mother Gaia was like, hello, I need help over here. And so souls like us began to come in. But it's important to remember that the humans that are here, the souls that are embodied in the humans that are here, and they all have the ability to have souls. There are what you might call NPCs where they're not connected to their soul, but it's important to remember they all have the ability to connect to a soul because the very body has a zinc spark, which creates a photon light particle once the sperm and the egg meet. So once there's that zinc spark, there's always an opportunity for a soul. We are here now, guys. We are here to connect to our higher consciousnesses, infuse it into this world through our missions, through our purpose, through just being you, whatever you feel called to do, to elevate their consciousness. It's kind of like we bump up our consciousness and we begin to live on this plane, right? And they're still down here mired in their 3D stuff and worried about this and that and whatever's coming up for them. We need to stay here so that their consciousness is forced to raise to our level. And that's why I call you guys light warriors, because you have to be so aware of your light. You have to stay out of the BS, out of the pain. You have to stay so connected to your truth, your center, so that you can stay here and hold this frequency, much like water. The energy is like water, it seeks its own level. It's easy to be pulled back down. You hop on your social media, you see something going on, whatever it is that triggers you, and poop, you're pulled back in. And I will share with you that there are actual energetic parasites that come off of these screens and they work their way into your eyes and then they affect and shift your brain. So it's important that when you're going on your phones, and this came through from source very, 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 very loudly and very, very clear. It's important that when you're going on your phones, that you're setting your intention for what you're looking for and that you're remembering why you're here. When you're watching TV or watching the news or talking to your family members, be very mindful of the experiences of what you're taking in, of the conversations you're partaking in, because all of that is going to contribute to what you're here to do. And it's going to contribute to whether you are pulled back down to this old frequency or you're able to stay connected to this high frequency. And there's also, of course, a frequency war. They have up to, I'm showing they have 7 and 8G, even 8, and there's some areas that have 9G. I don't even know what that means. All I can tell you is what I'm shown. So there are very high frequency towers that actually emit negative frequencies because we have all different ranges of frequencies. So these send out negative frequencies. And when that happens, that's when you're having those looping negative thoughts. And so it's really important to know how to do your work, know how to identify what is your thought, what is not your thought, know how to work through your thoughts if they are your thoughts. And by the way, that's the Light Warrior Rise and Shine package. That's exactly what that is here to help you with. So if you're struggling in any way, please purchase that. It's only $22. Like I said, you've got to really rein in your thoughts because your thoughts create electrical charges that then contribute to the frequencies in the world. All right. So again, how do we navigate this whole time? We navigate this by staying heart centered. We navigate this by remembering the truth of who we are, what we came here to do. You know what it is. There's a calling on your heart that you might not even have words for, mostly because English language kind of sucks, by the way, because there's limited descriptions for words. Um, but you know there's a calling on your heart and you can feel it. So the more you can connect to that calling in your heart and just stay there, do whatever feels good to connect with yourself every single day and stay there, the easier it will be for you to navigate this time. It is going to get louder out there, meaning, in the world with all the political warfare, financial issues, health issues, potential vid issues, all that kind of stuff is going to get louder, specifically between now and the end of the year. And it's up to us to remember this is because of what's happening. It's like the dark and the light, which you could also say in a way is source. So you can always ask source, ask God, pray. This is what, listen, I was on my knees at 3:30 this morning praying because my mind was just, ugh. So I got up, I got out of bed, I hopped on my knees. I'm like, God, I need your help. I need your help. I'm calling the light into my body. Please, I ask for your help right now. I need your help to clear my mind from what's going on, from the worries in my life, from what's going on in my body, from not knowing what to do, from making sure I get this information out today because I felt, I want to make sure that you guys get this okay. I need your help. I need your help. I need your help. And as I do that, I see the light coming into me. I see it pouring into me. And then I went back to bed, tears, sorry. And then I went back to bed. And when I woke up this morning, it's like I was more connected than ever. And you have that ability too. I'm not special. I am not special. I just remember. I just remember. That's the only difference between me and some of you. I am not special. All right. None of us are any different than the other. It's just that I remember that this is what I am like when I'm not in my form. And for me, that makes it a little bit hard. But I want to impress that upon you so that you remember that too. And pray when you need to. This three eye atlas, just again to close out, and then I want to hand over to Mikuak, is here to restore this part of you. It's here to restore these beautiful threads of connection that you can have to the wisdoms you've had in other lifetimes. You may not remember the lifetimes, and you don't have to, but you can have access to the wisdoms that you gained in those lifetimes. And then you can bring it into this body and connect with the source of who you are, because at your source, you are pure energy that has embodied yourself, chosen to embody into many different avatars in different life places, spaces, planets, whatever you want to call them. But this is the truth of who you are. And as these beautiful celestial beings come through to offer us these codes sent by God, they are here to restore what it is that has been lost. They are here to basically give us the codes we need to sow the seeds that Yeshua ben Yosef, Jesus Christ, came to plant, because he came here to plant the seeds. He was the original star seed, if you want to look at it like that. And it wasn't just him, there were many. He's just the one that they used. But he came here, and they came here to plant the seeds in our frequency fields. Even though you can't see them, there's codes all around you. You just have to learn how to connect with your energetic body and tune into them, much like an antenna, right? He came here and planted the seeds. And the way these epochs of time in this particular time that we're looking at, because there's many, there's 26,000 years, there's about 2,000 years, and then there's smaller epochs, there's months and weeks. We're right now, we are jumping into the next 26,000 year, but we are beginning the next 22 to 2600 year cycle, meaning this is a huge leap of consciousness for humanity, because we're beginning a whole new traversing, you could call it, within the Earth's trajectory in the universe. That's the 26,000 year. But we are also shifting on a micro level in our consciousness for the next 22 to 2600 years. And if you think about it, Yeshua was here about 2000 years ago, right? That's when he came, and that's our calendars have been mixed up with, and Makua will dive into that a little bit. But because our calendars have been so toyed with, we don't exactly know when he was here. But I can tell you that when he was here, he planted frequency codes that we have been watching evolve over time, right? If you were to go out 500 years ago, it wasn't uncommon to see a lynching or a killing or a burning of a person for whatever reason. Consciousness, even though it's slow, has been evolving. Humans are now ready to shift again. And that is where you come in, each and every one of you. That is where you come in, because you are here to sow the seeds that were planted in our frequency fields when he came, when they came. You are here to sow those seeds, to remember, to activate your Kundalini, to have a Christos consciousness awakening, to turn on all the hormonal centers in your brain and your pineal gland, to activate the crystals. You have crystals in your fascia, you have crystals in your vestibular system, you have crystals in your pineal gland. Your bones are made of crystals. When people talk about the crystalline body, it's real. And the light body is the electricity. And there's the piezo light, which is friction of what creates electricity. So there's a piezo-like process, and then the energy comes in and it activates the codes within. The flash happens from within, not from the sun. The sun offers us the codes. A lot of psychics are mistaken about that. The flash happens from within. There might be a greater time where we flash together, but for the most part, it can happen singularly and pops off much like popcorn when you're watching a popcorn come up. And we're going to be experiencing that. So, as this three eye atlas comes through, as these celestial beings who have been sent by God come through, they are giving you the codes needed to activate what you need internally for what you're here to do and how you can do it. So take these next couple of months, especially get outside, connect, journal, stay centered, stay off of what causes you to fall into negative cycles. Stay focused on what you love. And more than anything, trust and know that there is, in fact, a divine creator. There is, in fact, a divine plan, and you are part of it. And it is time, it is being activated. And this is just like when a baby takes a step. This is the next first step for all of humanity. So think of humanity as a baby about to take its first step. And you are the energy that's helping that baby walk. You are the parent that's helping that baby walk. So we have a ways to go, but you have a huge part to play. And I hope that you guys can really connect and just enjoy these codes as they come in. And I'm going to hand it over to Mikuak now because I know he has lots to offer about what is happening, and anything that he wants to share as well. So, Mikuak, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being so attentive.
Wow. Well, I just want to be the first to say thank you for, excuse me, for sharing that beautiful transmission that you received. You channeled that very beautiful transmission about the nature of what we are all observing and witnessing and experiencing collectively. So I want to also acknowledge that we are collectively observing this phenomena, we might call it, um, in terms of witnessing Three Eye Atlas now entering our solar system as it has, and just now its dance behind the sun as it is now performing and making its closest pass to the sun, as you mentioned, October 29th. It seems very similar to others who are regarding Three Eye Atlas as a messenger of sorts, uh, delivering, as you mentioned, the codes that we need right now. It's almost as if it's like we're all part of a group of souls that decided to come here at this time to receive those codes when this emissary mission would go out. 7 billion years old. It's supposed to be 7 billion or older, which is older than our solar system, as I've come to understand. So these are ancient codes when it's being said that we're being sort of recalibrated to an older set of principles, maybe, you know. And all of that comes up for me in what you were sharing about this opportunity. And of course, it does have a relationship with the golden intersection of timelines. And one thing I'd like to also mention, though, is it is said to, as you mentioned, it's a composite of multiple beings of consciousnesses coming together. And when we think about consciousnesses of the various states that consciousness may take, each of us on this call represent a state of consciousness that consciousness is taking. And we all happen to be here in a group together. So it's not uncanny that consciousness will come together in ways to perform a mission or a task. And it seems that that would be the nature of this collective uh, purpose, right? For it to come and actually, in a way, bring us the codes, the clarity, the orientation that we require to actually inhabit our unique purpose, whatever that may be. Because I think in the way that Earth has been impacted over phases and periods of time, the rectifying of all of that which has happened to Earth also takes phases and periods of time. And so our orientation to time as earthlings is one thing, though even as it says in scripture, one day to God is 1,000 years to man. What does that mean when we think in terms of consciousness? And so I'm saying that perhaps a 7 billion-year-old consciousness now timing perfectly to come through our solar system at the moment when we actually need it most. I mean, by all accounts, if we look at what's happening on the 3D, we really need this rectification now more than ever. We've needed it for a long time, but hey, maybe we're primed to receive it now. And maybe we've had enough exposure, enough experience to ground it now. And so that's a part of it too. It's recognizing that it's like picking up what's being put down, you know. Like they say, I pick up what you're putting down. Do we have the capacity to pick it up? That's the question of sorts. Let it not be missed on us what is being transmitted. I feel I resonate with the identification of this consciousness bearing the the Christ codes, as you inferred as well. It's coming with those again, these cosmic points of orientation, these principles, these living principles, living laws of the cosmos. That here in this particular experiment, we seem to be at such a disarray, a discombobulation of the energy. So we need a reorientation, and that's what it feels like is happening on every level right now, one way or another. There's one phrase I love that states, choose your change or your change will choose you. And I feel that we've been long in the grace period to choose our change. It's not like that window just opened up. We've been in that. As you mentioned, really that call, that SOS from Earth went out in the 1940s, and that's very real. So we and those incarnate souls since that time have been diving in here in various fleets, I believe, and various sort of transition teams to assist the process of guiding the Earth as a consciousness through this next phase. The phase, this kind of eye of needle moment we're meeting right now with what we've called the golden intersection of timelines. But these moments, these windows of opportunity happen um, in phases because maybe not everything or everyone was ready at the first moment of that call, that SOS. It took time for that call to be even answered cosmically. It took until the harmonic convergence for that SOS to actually be responded to in such a way where there was enough human beings receptive to receive the codes of supernova 1987A at that time, which was part of the reconfiguration. So when we look at this marvel of the Three Eye Atlas and these other, as you mentioned, Swan, these other cosmic friends attending this moment of coming together, it's really remarkable just to observe. And there is something of great impact by simply observing it, meaning that's where the quantum happens. That's where it matters. Without the observer, is there quantum? I don't know, but we're called to be the observer in the observer effect. And so there's a lot showing up for us to observe. And, again, thank you to Ishel for helping decode people in the chat. When you receive your galactic signature, you're receiving part of that initial code series that started to come in the 1980s. Okay, these are codes that have come in waves and sets and subsets. Another set or example of the codes happens to be what you referenced earlier in the human design system, which was another way of transducing this vibrational data and information into applicable systems that we as humans could pick up what they were putting down, right? Some of you might remember the Barbara Marciniak books of the 1990s and some of her transmissions as a wave in this process of opening or sensitizing us to get in alignment with the greater cosmos. Because in the experiment on Earth, we've been in many ways quarantined and contained. So we've been cut off from our galactic roots and memory just as much as we've been cut off from our indigenous roots and memories. Similar things. Now what's beautiful is all of that is being restored simultaneously if we're really paying attention and we're watching and experiencing the wave coherently that's happening collectively. And so all of that comes up for me and all that beautiful transmission you shared. So thank you. Thank you very, very much for that. And I'm 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 honored at the invitation that recognizing you as one on a mission from the source, from the Most High Creator, and from God, as you have said in your own words. I resonate with that, and I trust the timing of everything. When I hear source, I also hear the word code together, like source code. A lot of that is now part of our nomenclature these days, right? But truly it is. We are here. We have source code. It's in us. It's in our DNA. It's coming to our awareness with the more light we interact with, because we're phase shifting out of a cycle that would be best characterized as a lunar cycle for 6,000 years, which, if you think about the moon, technically, it doesn't shine its own light, it merely reflects light. So we've been operating in this process of going in and out of shadow consciousness, shadow band, for a long time, that we have been misoriented or disoriented to what solar consciousness actually is. It's been a long time. So when you do get your galactic signature, you're also getting an orientation to what's called your solar seal and your galactic tone. So a signature itself is a combination of the solar seal and the galactic tone. So, for example, in your case, Krystina, I mentioned earlier your kin 127. Now, your solar seal is the seventh seal, which is the blue hand, which is the quality of healing. That's the seventh seal out of 20 solar seals. Okay. Your tone is tone 10, which is the tone of manifestation, called the planetary tone of manifestation. It represents the number 10 in that creative process of 13. So when you receive or get decoded, what you're doing is stimulating a memory, which I appreciate. I think you indicated like part of this is a memory jogging for us. We've been so disconnected, though there's like stem cells, it remains in us at our roots. They just haven't been activated. So in the reactivation process, these things are also going to invariably come in some ways rushing back to memory, and it can be disorienting. And then we may go through periods where we just have to lay down. But part of the purpose of just laying your body down to rest is the integration of the information. Even if you're not getting it cognitively, you're getting it energetically. You're getting it. Your literal, physiology is getting what it needs. And so you want to respect those processes too at this time. If the body needs rest, honor the body, like give it space and time to rest, so that you can receive more of what wants to pour into you energetically right now. We want to be able to receive. And in order to receive, we also have to give. So it's also important that you find ways to make room to receive. And a lot of what I like about the clearing that you opened with today is making way for us to receive more by allowing to come into that tornado of white light that works through our fields, to put into that, to be okay to let go. Whatever it is that we want to allow, release, and let go into that, that it be reconfigured or given back to the source. Because as you also said, it's all God's stuff. Whether you call it dark or light or this or that, it's all of the source, which I think is a part of the recognition now of how we have a chance to reflect self love to the Creator. So, if the Creator wanted to have this elaborated experience of duality and experience itself outside of itself, seemingly, that invariably, as you mentioned, at times like this, it would be part of a reconnecting process, a remembering process, which in many ways has to be attended by self-love or self-acceptance. So I would just ask the Creator, I'm curious, Creator, What is it that you found out about yourself in this experiment of separation to come back to yourself at this time of remembrance or reunification? It's a question. I don't have an answer. I'm just putting it out there because we all should reflect, I believe, at this time. It's like, what is this process of returning and remembering? What does that mean for us? How can we, contribute to this time with the best of who we are, you know, in the best way we know how? Also, while recognizing all these dynamics are happening simultaneously. It's interesting you would mention the idea, too, of a tornado. We at the Harmonic Factor had a physicist guest by the name of Dan Winter, who some of your listeners may be familiar with. Dan is a world-renowned, brilliant, brilliant human being, and we were really honored to have him on our closing episode of that sequence, 52. And he was describing the process known as phase conjugation and this process of fractalization and what we're actually experiencing right now as fractals of source code, essentially, right? We're all expressions of source. We're all that relationship, effectively. That the antidote that we need now is, and to make this transition as we're coming to what is called the Git, as we've called it, the Git, Golden Intersection of Timelines. And I'm going to explain the mechanics of that in a moment, but just qualitatively for people listening, just to appreciate what's actually invited of us now, as you mentioned also, is to be very heart-centered. And when we reflect that self-love back to the Creator, that's the invitation. We're really being invited to collapse into the heart or enter the center, I like to say. And that is what it appears that the calendar systems and the mathematics are all pointing to right now. This moment of um, inevitable collapse where everything is basically turning into itself and the heart is almost as though turning inside out. And it creates effectively a toroidal process. Like in physics, if you were to think of it in terms of its behavior, it's turning and collapsing within itself, but regenerating out. It's like such a regenerative field of energy. Nothing is wasted. In fact, it's only just it perpetuates life. It's the nature of nature, effectively, from a lens of physics. So what we're actually moving through collectively right now is a process where when we say follow your heart, or you've heard the term follow your bliss, that is the highest instruction we can take right now, is to really follow your bliss. And in particular, this 9-day window that we find ourselves in currently, where Pluto apparently has been in retrograde and is going direct, that this window or transition, and I may be incorrect about that, but I know there's some play with Pluto right now specifically, where in this window up to October 13th, October 14th, the wisdom there is to be in a field of your own creativity. Meaning, if we want to match the frequencies of life and our creator, then create. Create something. Allow yourself to step into your own field or frequency as a creator, whether that's art or whether that's whatever that may be. There's no limit to that. Just know that you're responsible for your creation. That's the only caveat there. So create something beautiful you want to see more of, in other words, something you can feel proud of, contributing to the field right now. And know that in this most special moment, whatever you're creating is going to be amplified gamillions of times. That's the formula, effectively, of what's happening. So we want to amplify the energy of creativity and purpose at such a rate and velocity that it can technically eclipse or drown out or subsume any lesser field, and therefore raise every vibration. Like everything is subject to vibration anyway. We just have to return to our center of power that we've been, you know, unknowingly and in some cases knowingly disconnected from, not by any fault of our own, frankly, but that now we are realizing and remembering oh, we do have access to that power. We do have that capacity. We do have this technology in our physiology and our very being and our consciousness, you know, what, and we are powered not by Intel, but by Mother Earth, frankly, coming on noospherically. You know, I make a joke just to say, you know, it's not about the artificial technologies, but even those are sourced from source. So even those can serve a higher vibrational purpose in the reconfiguring of our memory. And that's where we've been at because we've been under a lot of amnesia. So we have to have the memory jog. We have to have the memory. We got to catch up to ourselves. You know, I think you mentioned the idea of your heart catching up to the mind because right now our minds are very rapid paced. We're in this inundation of information and all this stuff, though the pause is not inviting us more into our minds as much as it's inviting us to pull our minds into our heart. That it's not that we need to really as much catch up to the mind as much as we need to invite the mind to rest at the frequency of the heart so that we don't miss the memo or the memory, right? The memory as it's passing through our solar system is 7 billion, with a B, billion-year-old water. And water in variable states is plasma. And we know water carries memory, water transmits memory. So, you know, part of the shift that we're actually moving into collectively is restoring our human access to water. We each need to be concerned to hydrate, but not just with anything, because you want to be careful because not everything is going to be a good source of hydration necessarily, particularly depending upon the vessel in which it rests. Okay. Avoid the microplastics. I'm not promoting microplastics. I'm saying if you can, the best bet is to get spring water. And if you have it in a glass bottle, you're even in a better condition to do so. But regardless of what you do, and if that means, and I think there are resources online people can look up, like there's a whole catalog of fresh streams where people can go and access like literal fresh streams in the continental United States. It's a great resource. So maybe someplace regionally close to some of the folks tuning in here, they can find that as a great resource for accessing clean water. Very important. But we're in the time of again, the memory getting a jog, and we're remembering, we're awakening in the dream and remembering. And you also touched on a lot of things. You touched on the piece, though, also about the fact that there is interference that does tend to um, attempt to get in. And Dan Winters goes into this. Dan Winter rather goes into this a lot as well, as you might know, just in terms of what I would call the astral hygiene and how we want to take care of our field, our aura, so as we don't just leave ourselves open and vulnerable unintentionally. And there are various ways to do this, but I certainly, you know, obviously the work you do and what you facilitate people with can help them be even aware of where those vulnerabilities might be, because you have to even have somebody help you see, even in some cases, those blind spots. Because if they're a vulnerability, they've probably been a vulnerability for a long time, right? And those astral energies like to get in and irritate us or agitate us or try to pull us off track according to those spaces, you know, where again, we may or may not be aware of them. So having that kind of support is helpful, certainly. And having your collective and your accountability partners, like with my partner, Ishel, my beloved, like she's my accountability partner, because who better than somebody who sees you every day of your life, you know, to help hold you to account, because we all need that support, frankly. So, if I might, I just want to share a visual, if that's okay, that just articulates what the golden intersection of timelines is and why what you're sharing about Three Eye Atlas is so timely and important, particularly given what it's inviting us to. It's inviting us to remember. You also mentioned that this window basically between now and December 21st is very, very important, especially as it relates to Three Eye Atlas. And that couldn't be so, it couldn't be more true, frankly, because what I'm about to share with you is a sense of the timing from a lens of timekeepers, and something that Rubin, Janus, and myself observed, and observed back in 2018 in our work. And it was recognizing a point in the future, which is coming up in 7 days' time from today. It was the future then. It's still the future, but it's only 7 days now. Back then, it was like 7 years, right? So here we are, 7 days to this marker. And what's amazing is when we look at this now concerning everything happening on the earth and what's calling our attention, and from what place in ourselves we're called to respond. I think this is a powerful moment for us to truly step into that compassion maybe we never knew we had, that ability to truly hold the whole earth in our heart space. It's that capacity to love. Even if we've been hurt before, even if we're navigating disappointment, we're invited to return to our source code that doesn't know those limits. The source code isn't coded that way. The source code is coded to harmony. And compassion is an expression, an outpouring expression of harmony. So we're really inviting us to remember our source code while we're also being impacted and supported in that memory field by this interstellar visitor that we're terming Three Eye Atlas. Three Eye, interestingly, is in reverse I3, which sort of intimates something to do with the number 13, perhaps, or then perhaps the number 31 and its three eye expression. And then you look at the inception of the great Maya cycle that they tracked, goes back to 3113 BC, 3114 by some accounts. But just to say, it's interesting in the reflection of these markers, numbers invariably play with us, and they play peekaboo, and they sort of show up and they pop out, like you all see 1111 or maybe 144. And maybe there's certain angel numbers that frequently show up for you as an individual in your own path and journey. I'm inviting you to observe the numbers, and the number 13 is important in particular because it was part of our memory field that was stamped out deliberately. And we're in that phase now where we forgive that action. As they say, at this point in the game, you need to forgive absolutely everyone for absolutely everything. For real. Just just as a baseline. Start there. Because we can't really proceed in our evolutionary process unless we just neutralize that baseline. Now, it doesn't mean people aren't going to be held to account, because the cosmos will do what the cosmos does. The universe works those things out. However, we need to focus particularly into the field of compassion and love that is collapsing into the heart right now. And so in that, we want to really invite that forgiveness. Universal forgiveness is the attitude, I would say, you want to enter a resonance with the golden intersection of timelines. Okay, you want to enter in a field or a resonant reflection of forgiveness, universal forgiveness, forgiving yourself first, of course, for whatever that may be, or whatever it is you did or didn't do, whatever that is, whatever, however that lands with you, and whatever that means to you. That's being invited to release. It's being invited to release. I reflect back on that tornado you mentioned, because it's the same thing that Dan said several times in his commentary to us. Is what's happening now is in this implosion that's happening, you have to be able to hold the charge. You have to be able to ride that tornado. You got to be able to literally navigate your tornado. And that's why I'm saying what you're inviting people to do through that exercise is very pertinent, to clear. Then not only as, and once you've cleared, it is then, spin. Like at that point, it is like spin and vibrate higher. Like that's part of when we release the things that really no longer serve us, that never did, that were input there somehow that didn't have anything to do with us. we feel lighter. And so thus we can vibrate higher. We don't have the same gravity or density that we may have felt before. And from that place of lightness, a lightness of being, we can be of greater service to the whole. And when we think about it, the real focus of service at this point for us collectively is in service to the planetary whole, where we no longer see the earth as just this inanimate object that we extract from or that we promote that sort of consciousness towards. We want to be on the side of things that are going to sustain and regenerate. We don't want to err on the side of things that are going to be composted and released, just to say, because both are happening. So now some of us have a part to do with that composting of the old stuff. Some of us have a part to do with the hospicing of the old world and timelines. And that's also valid. So you know in your heart what you're coded to do. We each came here with that unique purpose. Now, getting a clarity or lens in that code can be found when you get decoded with your galactic signature. And that's just one lens into that that has been made available to humanity in the past 40 years. Um, and with that, I want to pull up this item to share. Thank you all for your attention. And I'm looking forward to also our Q&A in a few moments. But I just wanted to share this with everybody to give you a sense of what we are referring to when we speak of this golden intersection of timelines. And hopefully you're able to see what I'm sharing on the screen. Awesome. Okay. So as you see here, I'm sorry, 19, let me go back that far. In the year 2018, my colleague Rubin made a discovery as we were doing some timekeeping work. We began our work together around the year 2016, and then 2018 he made a discovery on the date October 4th, 2016. And that discovery is what led us to what we now call the golden intersection of timelines. And basically, along a future timeline, we could see on this ephemeris that he had created um, a point in the future at this point, which was October 14th, 15th, 2025, when the traditional Mayan calendar would embody what is called for a how. You see those little four dots above the yellow glyph there on the screen. That's the glyph for what is known as for a how. And the red glyph next to that one, this is the glyphs on the left-hand side to be specific. The red one next to the yellow one I just indicated is called 5 Imish. And those are 2 days. Those are the reflective dates in the traditional Mayan long count for what in the Gregorian date is known as October 14th and 15th. And this is very significant because also you'll see there the long count expression of 13.0.13.0.0. Now that set of codes relates to the date December 21st, 2012. And many people will remember where they may have been at that time because the awareness of December 21st, though cross-contaminated by a lot of other interpretations, was something that was in the popular awareness at the time. But in the count itself, when you deal with the numbers, the count of December 21st, 2012 was 13.0.0.0.0. Now, on October 14th, that long count marker arrives to 13.0.13. So what that indicates is we complete what are called 13 tune cycles on that date. That's like literally tuning up. And you can imagine each tune cycle is 360 days total. So 13 of those cycles is what we're completing October 14th. And why this matters is because in a frequency layer, it's an echo and a resonant layer. It's a harmonic layer of that December 21st completion date. You also see there the codes beside that, NS138, 3, 25, and 26. What that indicates is the current dates of the electric moon that we'll soon encounter on that October 14th and 15th marker as well, which is kin 204, yellow solar seed, and kin 205, red planetary serpent. All of those are markers that give an indication to the quality of that timing that we're entering right now. And I'll let you know, for those who do track natural time, and you may be learning about this for the first time in your life, in fact. Yesterday, we just began a cycle known as the Yellow Warrior Wave Spell. For your listeners, a wave spell is any cycle of 13. So that could be 13 days, it could be 13 weeks, 13 months, 13 years, 13 baktuns, which we see as an aspect of the traditional Mayan calendar, for example, when you get into these cycles. But note that it is 13, which is the factor of harmonization in these codes. 13 also relates organically and naturally to the fertility cycle in human life, gestation period, or the human fertility cycle, 28 days times 13 being a total of 364. But 13, you'll find, invariably shows up to remind us about our actual nature versus the 12-month sort of scenario we found ourselves under for the past 5 centuries. And that's a whole other story. But the good thing is, in this few days to come, we are redeeming that entire story of artificial time by inviting ourselves to step into an experience of natural time in sync with nature, expressed as the golden ratio. So as you can see, what is the golden intersection of timelines? It is a portal to cosmic harmony. So on October 14th, 15th, we're literally stepping across a threshold, a portal of cosmic harmony. It's entering something else. Bear in mind, it's just crossing the threshold. Once you've crossed that threshold, you're stepping into something entirely new. And that's the point, is to bring the memory with you. This is what we're moving into, remembering. So the golden intersection occurs on the 14th to 15th of October 2025, and it represents an unprecedented convergence of cosmic, mathematical, and calendrical cycles. And it does mark a transformative moment for humanity, offering a very unique, once in history opportunity. This will never happen again, and it has only ever happened once. A unique opportunity to harmonize with the natural rhythms of time and space. And there are 4 key harmonic factors that we're just going to cover here quickly. At the heart of the golden intersection, these key harmonic factors establish its foundational significance. As I said, it is a unique calendrical convergence. It's also harmonic patterns of fractal time. And that again is important because we are fractals of the Creator. So each of us, we're all participating in this sort of fractalized experience in the hologram on this planet Earth right now. And then 3, the space-time continuity from 2012. So like I'm indicating, we are a wave in the first phase of the new phase of the new time. The old time literally completed its cycle December 21st, 2012. The very next day entered a new phase of a brand new Baktun cycle, and we're part of that first 13 years of that new time. So everything we've seen rapidly coming online for us as a human society and species is evidence of this shift in this new phase. Now, granted, we're also learning how to work with these shifts and augmentations and modifications and technologies as well, so that we can actually put them in right alignment for our purposes versus them be something used to further, um, shall we say, dominate or control our lives. But again, this is the line we're navigating. And 4, unification of past, present, and future. So the unique calendrical convergence as this once-in-a-lifetime precise alignment is distinguished by its mathematical elegance and historical significance. And it does mark the convergence of the Gregorian calendar, very important to note, the ancient Maya long count, and the galactic Maya long count, masterfully coordinated by the golden ratio. For those of you that know or don't know, the golden ratio, as we'll explain here, is expressed, it's also regarded or termed phi, and it's expressed mathematically as 1.61803. So you'll see this invariably, or phi as a symbol is used to express the golden ratio. And on October 14th, 15th, October 2025, the Gregorian calendar is reaching 443 years, which importantly is equivalent to the frequency of 161803 days, which is a fractal expression of the golden ratio itself. So in the collective consciousness sort of timekeeping system, woven into that, it's almost as if we've left ourselves, an eject or an exit hatch of sorts, you know, that we could actually utilize by making it conscious. And this is exactly that. It couldn't be more perfectly timed that we became aware of this frequency match of the golden ratio on the precise moment of 443 years of the Gregorian calendar, October 15th. So making that conscious means we have a chance to course correct it. Now, as I'll show you in a moment, this is also being synchronized by other counts. So it's not just us in the modern day making it conscious, it's also the ancestral count, the traditional count of the Maya, an unbroken count that has never stopped for a leap day or for any other reason. It is carried on for thousands of years. An unending count, this long count, synchronizes in such a way on that date, October 14th, literally as this 13.0.13.0.0. Again, the 13s are present. That feminine energy, that restorative energy of the complete cycle, the fertility cycle, all the counts, all the meaning that that contains. The space-time continuity from 2012, very important. As you will remember, there was a galactic alignment of Earth with the Sun and the heart of the Milky Way galaxy at the solstice point on December 21st, 2012. And this marked an astronomical event that we could observe tying into the Mayan count completion 13.0000. So this event connected time and space, literally. Okay. The golden intersection of timelines extends this synchronization. So it's a process that's continued to synchronize since then. It's not stopped ever since, it's been ongoing. It extends the synchronization in time, aligning the Gregorian and Mayan timekeeping systems in a perfect harmonic resonance with the golden proportion. So if we're aware that that's happening, we have the ability to literally, as if host this resonant field that really just invites us to get into our heart and find what brings us joy. That's really in the moment what is the best thing I would recommend for folks to do to actually ground this awareness. All these codes, all this data, all this information, it's really meant to direct us to our hearts. I know it sounds kind of poetic to say that, but that's literally, it's like as if currently we're reflecting a trajectory to the heart of the galaxy. If our entire solar system is in an orientation to the very heart of the galaxy, then that's going to be a reflection for what we're being invited to also align ourselves to. The numbers just go to support that purpose. That's what the elders would tell us, is that right now, you got to really just get close to the earth and get into the heart. And for this reason, it is a unification of past, present, and future. So on the ancient Maya long count on the 14th of October, it's noted as 13.01300, as I said, for a how. That's the same day that marked both the start and end dates of the 13 Baktun cycle, all the way back in 3114 BC up to December 21st, 2012, and it's the same marker that recurs in the resonant field on October 14th. This date is also synchronizing in the distant future, which is why it's past, present, and future, our distant future selves, with the end of the 20 Baktun cycle. So to give you a sense, in the year 2013, it was the end of the 13 Baktun cycle. So 7 more Baktuns in the future will complete what's known as the Piktun. It'll complete one Piktun cycle of the traditional Maya timekeepers. On October 13th, just a few days from now, in the year 4772, when that marker extends to read now 1.00000, whereas currently it's on 13.0, about to reach 13.00. So you can see the extension of that count and how the Maya kept the count. It extends one more unit out, and at that point it completes that 20 Baktun cycles called one Piktun. That's where we see the one there, which is going to be basically 2,747 years from now. Now, why does making that conscious even matter? Well, that's because intelligence is non-local, and we're in this wave spell of intelligence of the yellow warrior, where we're keyed or cued to activate our fearlessness and our intelligence. We're invited and encouraged to express our truth, and in a way that doesn't have to make anybody else wrong. That's the other part of this. Because the zero sum game is what we've eclipsed. Even though we may see echoes of that, expressions of that, very grave expressions right now, we have to accept that that's not a frequency match where things are shifting. And in that process, we're going to see bifurcation. In some cases, that's why also being okay with letting go is important, because, firstly, everything is God's substance. And whatever we do let go will invariably return to us in another way, in a higher order. Nothing is lost. I guess I'm just trying to make the point that we have to be okay with letting go right now. And we also want to be gentle with ourselves too. Like it's a sacred dance. It's a delicate dance at the moment, right? There's a lot we're being asked to hold right now, just generally, both in our own lived experience, but also for the collective. So we are in a very transformational moment, a transformative moment in human and planetary evolution. This is no small thing. And the way best to approach this, we've been advising people, is really through heart-centered peace and clarity, and being at peace and with clarity on what it is that you are observing. And phi aligned intention and thought, meaning the expression of harmony. Phi is also referred to as the fingerprint of God. It's as though you're seeing the expression of God through number, but also through your own experience of synchronicity and divine order and right placement, and that whole expression, however that shows up for you. You want to tune into that more. Be receptive also to being guided to that, to being shown indications of that in your lived experience. It's okay to ask the Creator to give you indications of that, to give you confirmations and signs. That's okay to ask for that, and they will be shown to you. At least that's been my experience for sure. Presence without resistance. And this is a very important piece right now, because what we resist persists. I'm sure we've heard that statement before. So this is a time to be okay with, again, letting go and surrender in the best of ways. Now, I don't mean surrender to an authority that will want to have domination over you, but I certainly mean surrendering into the flow of life in a way that doesn't resist the flow. It's in that resistance that we can get banged up a bit. And so, especially now with things moving at such a velocity, it's important that we do allow ourselves to, you know, to go with the flow. That's and to be present in what is being invited of us in any given moment. And every moment we are engaging, it's just this recognition that every one you engage is in Lakesh, is a reflection of you, is another reflection of the Creator, because we're all reflections of source code. So what does that reflection have to uh, bless you with or bliss you with in that moment as a reflection? Or in what way are you called to be of service to that reflection? And I think that's a great way to enter this essence and surrender to that higher order and in resonance with that source code of life. So, we want to deposit this and bring this to people's awareness, because we want them to contribute to the collective uh, moment that you, by the invitation of having us be on with you, have invited us to amplify in the community. And it's just a beautiful thing to be able to increase the amount of people who are aware of this in the field collectively. I certainly know we've been spreading awareness of this now for, better of 4 years, and then with this podcast for the last year directly. So people around the world have begun to share with us where they're going to meditate or they're going to tap in and be celebrating from. We have our dear brother Rubin and Alejandra, his beloved Alejandra, who are going to be anchoring this energy in Palenque itself. So again, we're invited to be aware of that happening October 14th and 15th. We're also being aware that In North America, there is the observance of Indigenous Peoples Day, October 13th, that's been reclaimed by many cities and municipalities and several states in the United States, transmuting the energy of genocide, frankly, and the declaration of Columbus Day, that it has obviously been acknowledged and regarded as for quite a long time. Though in the turning of the tide, as this golden intersection of timelines is also a part of, we see the restoration, the recalibration to what it means to be good stewards of this earth, and also stewards of our unique purpose on this earth. And so with that, there is a restoration and a recalibration of people to both their own direct indigenous roots, as well as we see reflected in these timekeeping systems, obviously, which are codes from the past as well as the future. But they're also invited to what that or where that leads each human, in the fact that everybody essentially is indigenous to Earth. And so we're also all invited to explore what that looks like for us. When we say return to origin, it's like, okay, well, what does that mean to you? How does that show up for you? And what do we have to learn about our families, about our roots? Because before we were colonized, all of us have been colonized, if we're being honest. We have traditions. We have those relationships in our DNA. It's in our memory. It's in our memory bank. So part of this work of the ancient, present, and future recalibration is calling up those codes of our memories and going to those pain points in our own genealogies where our ancestors are seeking to evolve as well with us. It's almost like we're here in a moment where we have the body through which all of our ancestors can also tumble forward in that evolutionary process. It's a very unique moment we find ourselves in. And so that's a part of the acceleration and the intersection of timelines, is all of us are being called to that greater healing work. And we were the ones that sort of raised our hands energetically for our respective bloodlines to say, hey, I'm going to jump in there and do whatever is mine to do to help repair that rupture, or whatever needs restoring, to be part of the cooperative collective solution. And every bit counts. Believe that. It really, really does. And so I want to pause there and say thank you again, Christine. Krystina, I hope that this has been helpful on some level in terms of giving us a sense for what we're looking at in all the data. But more important than the data right now, I would just say, is the frequency that we're actually inhabiting. Meaning, how does this land with you in your field, in your heart, in your aura, in your field of influence and impact? That's I put that question forward just energetically for you to ask yourself, and then I'm open for whatever the Q&A is as well may be. But I
Yeah.
also surrender to you, Krystina, and say, hey, thank you for the opportunity to share, and I'd love any reflections you have, my reflector sister.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that. And to me, that we're sharing this together. So this is a shared transmission. So while I deeply appreciate your gratitude, just know that as far as I'm concerned, this is equally yours, and all of ours. It's our time. One thing what was coming through, a couple things came through, but then we kept going. So I lost a couple, but it will come back. You guys might have heard about, the 24 chromosomes, right? We have, this is also, as he was talking about genetics, this is what was coming through. And this is just all rough data, you could say, through what I see, what I remember. But about 300,000 years ago, one of our chromosomes was basically spliced and then capped off. And so it disconnected us, but we actually have 24. So what he's also talking about, he's talking about the genetics and the genetic healing your ancestral trauma, which I know so many of you do, and you're doing an amazing, amazing job. And those of you who are the most expanded or powerful souls, highest frequency souls, or however you want to word it, would have chosen the hardest bodies to have to transmute the pain of. And my hats go off to you. My heart goes out to you. And I just want to offer you that because I know you've been through emotions that are not your own. And it can be very overwhelming, confusing, and just baffling, right? And cause you sickness. That we're also moving into this time, and when he's talking about the golden timeline of intersection and the 3 eye atlas, all of this is converging. It's happening now to begin the restoration of this gene code, this chromosome, right? So we can restore because we actually have 24. The Anunnaki brought us down to 23, and we are slowly going to be over time restoring to the 24th, and that's where you're able to access your angelic body. And some of you are already basically doing that, but you're going to be learning how to embody it. So I just wanted to offer that, and I know Mikuak might have something to offer on that. Do you have deeper insight on that? Because I know you traverse a lot of these deep intel insights as well.
Interesting point. I resonate with what you said in terms of the gene manipulation that is purported to have occurred in our distant past that make us the beings that we are now in these particular spacesuits, that they came about as a result of that definitive manipulation. And also, to speak to the 24, it reminds me of the mention of the 24 elders in the Bible as well, when it speaks about the 24 elders
Oh,
seated
yeah.
around the throne, if I'm not mistaken. But
Which is
there
probably
there
some
is
sort of metaphor, right?
is a metaphor, and the numbers also obviously have their expression and purpose. It's something interesting Dan Winter also pointed out in the last conversation we'd had with him, where he was describing that the precession of equinoxes, according to physics, is a lot closer to 24,000 years than it is to 26,000, as we sort of hear in the field with kind of the loose calculations, kind of when we hear this kind of information. But that it's an interesting thing that that's something he says, according to physics, it's much closer technically to 24,000 years. So, again, another expression of the 24. Then, of course, you have the 24 hours a day. So, when we look at these things in terms of how those imprints are constantly there in our face, it's like, this is who
Oh,
you are, but you're going to be made to function at, a fraction of that capacity, because we need to keep you contained, because you do contain some divine stuff that we can't seem to control
yeah,
nor predict. So, so to me, that also comes up. It's like, okay,
yeah,
it's like, what's really going on here? That's kind of the question. Uh,
right.
Bigger question, perhaps. Though it seems like, yes, there is evidence to support that archaeologically, anthropologically, our collective stories go back way longer than the 6,000 years allotted us in the Bible, at least on its face. So
Yeah,
unless we deal with things as allegories or symbolism or, sort of ratios, perhaps, maybe then. But yeah, I think this is all guiding us to remember who we are, and to not necessarily hold ourselves back, from what it is we may feel is ours to express. Like, I feel like we each have a dynamic artist and higher intelligence, maybe call it genius for lack of a better word, in us, that we may mute or we may reject ourselves or what have you. Um, but being that this sort of present window of sensitivity is inviting us to step into our creativity, I really want to encourage us to tap back into that creative genius. Like, I'm taking the medicine I'm expressing to you for myself as well. I mean, I'm a musician. Like, I've been doing other things because it feels like this was something required of the moment. But, you know, I'm feeling like maybe I need to get back into my music, and that's the best thing I can contribute in this moment and this frequency to the collective. You know what I mean? Holding spaces like this is great, but I certainly want to see what all of us are here to create, because I believe it is the 13 galactic tones map creative processes. So in that, we also know when you learn your tone, you sort of learn where you tapped in an ongoing creative process. And invariably, you'll find synchronizations for yourself along those recurring cycles. That's the beautiful thing about knowing your codes as well. And just so people know, when we talk about the galactic signatures, there are only 260 distinct signatures. So each one of us, and it's considered that your galactic signature is activated at your first breath. So it doesn't matter so much the time of day or any of that. It's a matter of the actual kin frequency during your first breath. And so when you have that first breath, whether you're born at the completion of that day cycle or the beginning of the what, it doesn't matter. It's That's when you basically come online effectively. You've come out of the mother's womb, you've taken that first breath, and everything gets activated, or we could say galactivated, right? We like that word. But everything comes online for you, um, in the sense that it's the breath. It's always the breath that is, the guide in a sense. Like breath can be likened unto spirit as well. The presence we feel, we can't necessarily see, though it's ever present,
Yeah.
ubiquitous. Right.
And oxygen O2 activates the photon light particles, and then the cells. Yeah, I mean, we could go on and on,
No,
honestly. I
and,
love
and
talking
it's
to Miku, and now you guys know why.
well, no, we could, and we want to definitely pause for folks to ask questions. But
Yes.
again, there's a beautiful science wrapped into this. But beyond the data is our being. It's like really how we're showing up. And again, like it is the golden rule. Like it's the golden intersection of timelines. It's the golden rule. Do unto others, or it's like I would say, be towards others as you would have them be towards you. Be towards yourself, I would say, kind of like let's invert that for a moment to say, and many people do treat others the way they treat themselves. So again, I want to invite us into a deeper sense of self-love so we can deepen the love we have for others, you see?
Mhm.
Because that's the only way we're really going to see a change here at all is if we come to accepting ourselves on the deepest levels going, that we can accept each other. And they say in the word aloha doesn't necessarily mean hello, goodbye, or I love you. Simply, it means I accept you. So to love me is to accept me, right? So we're all invited to a greater acceptance of self, individually, collectively. That's a part of this grand initiation we're also navigating right now.
Mhm.
So, when we tap in with the medicine and the wisdom of our elders and the ancients, again, it's all directing us to the heart, which we could say is leading us to the still small voice within, and it's from that place, from that sensitive stillness that we want to host and enter this get, this window. And we can imagine everything is just guiding us gently, hopefully. And I pray that you do have a gentle path and a peaceful experience in this, because it's obviously not the same for other humans on the planet right now. And if we're here and we're in our peace, then let our peace be big enough to hold those who are not in peace right now, who are tormented right now, because that's also happening in reality right now. Though we can do something about it by truly deepening our love of self, to know there's no separation between me and that child in Gaza right now. There's no separation between me or anyone on this call right now or ever. That's the frequency we want to reach in ourselves, in our field, in our aura, however best we can. Just keep a reminder, help us anchor there. If it's music that helps you stay there, then play that music. Listen to what you must. If it's taking your shoes off and getting out on the earth, we encourage and invite you to do that, to tap in so that you can ground the charge that is coming in. And so if these codes from 3i Atlas are coming in, we can be receptive to the transmission that is uniquely ours to receive. And I have a feeling we're all going to be getting very similar signals out the other side of this get, and we'll be able to come back and circle back with each other in the future here and share what has dawned on us in this transition, in this transformative window. So, but thank you. I'm complete. and grateful
Yes,
for a chance to just be here and share in this community.
thank you. I just want to add two things and then we'll set to close. One is I invite you each, if you find yourself judging anyone, anything, any situation, regardless of what it is, to ask within, where am I holding a judgment upon myself that is allowing this frequency to rise within me? And face that internally, no matter what it is. I mean, there's going to be some awful things. There's awful things. There already is awful things. And it's our job as higher consciousness beings to remember that behind every human is this. This is why I love this picture so much, because this is behind every human. Every human has a part to play. Every human has a story to tell through their experience that will then be the pebble in the pond that is needed for all the events that are unfolding at this time. And rather than getting caught up in the anger or the sadness or the frustration, ask yourself where you might be judging yourself and face it, let it go, and return to love. Return to love, remembering that that's what this is really all about, is finding that harmony. And the other thing is, he talks about, Mikuak talks about tones and codes and key codes. And as he's talking, I'm always seeing music. And I want to share with you how I see how it's shown to me, and my mind works more conceptually. He gets into the beautiful finite things of it. I just see it and do my best to translate it into words. So I hope this is able um, to resonate well enough with you. But the way it's always been shown to me is we are one verse, a universe, a universe of music, one verse, one song. Each and every one of us has a chord, right? You could think of your codes also as your chord, just like a chord of music. When you hear somebody play the piano and they start with a chord and then another chord, each and every one of you, if you were to hear your soul, the way when I hear people speak, I hear resonance in their voice and I can identify where they're out of tune with their soul. And then when we do their clearings or healings, I can hear and see where they've come back. So you are a chord of music that contributes to the symphony of Earth, that contributes to the universe of the multiverse, right? So it's one big universe that contributes to the multiverse. Everything is a sound wave, right? So just remembering what everything he's talking about, it's about letting these energetic waves, and they're inaudible sound waves, right? Meaning you can't hear your chord of music, but it's there. That's what people feel when you walk in the room. That's why somebody might walk in and you're repulsed by them and you don't know why. It's because their chord might be some type of tone on a piano that makes you cringe and you don't notice it, but you feel it. So finding that inner peace to return to your organic chord, your harmony, right? Talking about harmony, the harmonic factor, the golden intersection of timelines, the harmonic convergence, the converging of all this harmony and moving into this harmonious time together. And one last thing that I hope I'm saying your name right, Tiara, I think posted this in the chat. And I just happened to catch it because it pops up here and there. And if I happen to be looking at that screen, I see it. And I want to leave you with this because she so beautifully said it. Hardest. And I hope I'm not stealing something that was perfect, but you posted it, so I hope it's okay. HEARTIST. Hardest. I invite you each to be a hardest, right? Connect to your heart and let your heart create through you. Follow what it is you want to create. Allow the strings of your heart to be so pulled that you can't deny them. And thank you, Tara, for sharing that. That was absolutely beautiful way to say it. I've never heard that before, and you might hear me say that online from now on because it's so beautiful. And would you guys like an energetic activation, or do you want to go right into Q&A? I figure I will leave it up to everyone here because I know we've gone so far into time. So you guys let me know, because I know this was this whole listening was really a galactic activation. So you let me know, raise of hands or in the chat, if you would like an energetic activation where I can connect you to the golden timeline thread activation, please. Yes. Okay. So I'm getting a yes. So this will just take a minute. But I'll close out with that. And I just want to close out for anybody who's listening to the recording. Thank you so much for taking this time with us. I'm going to end with the activation, and then I'm going to hit the end button for this. Thank you so much for taking your time to listen to this. Your soul is so needed in this world. Because you guys who know me know it always comes to tears, just because source impresses it upon me so much that it's time for you to rise into your authentic self. It really is. This world doesn't need you showing up as who you are not. This world doesn't need more makeup and perfect aesthetics and perfect way of speaking things and perfect way of showing up in this life. This world needs you. This world needs you. This world needs the chord you have to offer, the codes that will only align with your song, with your chord that you're here to deliver, because everything is frequency and everything finds a vibrational match. That's why I always say it's all music. So I invite you to please become your own artist. Focus on what connects to your heart and let the strings pull you forward. And just a reminder, if you need help, you'll get the links in the email for those of you who signed up. For anybody tuning into this later, the links will be below the recording, but you are able to get a special offer on a one-on-one session with me. And there's also the Light Warrior Rise and Shine. Also, please head over to the Harmonic Factor the Galactic Spin on YouTube. And I'm going to ask Mikuak to leave some closing remarks as well. So I'll hand it over to him in a second. And then Ishelle's information will be in as a link in your email from this as well. So if you want more information on your Galactic Signature and your kin, and you want a reading or session with her, you can have that as well. I'm also offering my Celestial Reiki class this week, and stay tuned if you want to become a celestial Reiki practitioner, or if you just want to learn how to connect to your celestial self. That's what level 1 is about, and that one's only $111, and that's this week. And I would love to activate as many of you as possible to your celestial self so that we can get you harmonized. And I just want to ask Mikuak, do you have any final closing words for those who are listening to the recording before we do the activation and then go into the Q&A?
Just thank you for being present on the planet at this time. Thank you for showing up. And, just as Krystina was saying, just, be gentle with yourself at this time, especially. And yeah, thank you again just for being on the planet. We're here together. This is a collective, cooperative moment and mission. So I heart you, my fellow artists out there, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I love you, my brother. Okay, so just allow yourself to get comfortable. We're just going to do a little activation to the golden thread of timeline and to Three Eye Atlas. And I invite you, if anybody's listening to this later, feel free to piece this part out for yourself so you can listen to it as much as you need to over the course of the next couple of weeks or months, right? All right, so just allow yourself to connect into your body. Let's shake a little bit again, guys, just moving the body because we've been sitting here chatting. So let's just get the energy moving. Shake your hands, shake your feet, just kind of jiggle, wiggle, get the energy moving in your body. And then take a nice deep centering breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. One more time. Nice deep centering breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. And one more time. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. And if you can, allow yourself to see yourself sinking into the center of your body, the midline of your body. Let's go ahead and connect our feet back into Mother Gaia, just for anybody who might have floated up a little bit. So see either tree roots or some type of energetic cords coming down out of the bottom of your torso. So the bottom of your torso area, your hips, through your legs, your feet, and connecting you to Mother Gaia, almost as if you are a tree that is creating roots, connecting you in. And then let's see that beautiful white light from source once again streaming down, connecting you to source consciousness, running energy through the body, helping you feel present and fully connected to your body while you're simultaneously grounded into Mother Gaia. And just take another nice deep breath. I want to invite you to see, feel, or know that we are all gathered around a fireplace, and Rubin is with us, who is Mikua's partner and colleague. He is with us as well. So see yourself, anyone here that you've connected with, myself, Mikuak, Rubin, Ishal, whoever here that you want to see. See us all gathered around this beautiful fireplace having a fire ceremony. Fire is the transmuter of everything. If you can, just imagine yourself or peer into the fire, stare into the fire, or feel it or know it, however your abilities work. Feel the flames and the heat from the fire upon your face. Hear the crackle of the wood and the sparks as they rise from the fireplace. Recognize and know that fire is a living being. Take a moment in anything that might be on your mind or bothering you, or just circulating through you that you don't want anymore. Send it into the fire. Let's alchemize it together. Just go ahead and throw it right into the fire, just like a piece of paper. Throw it into the fire and see the sparks rise from the fire. Allow yourself to be as comfortable as possible as you feel the heat upon your face and feel the sparkle as it ignites the air around you, trusting and knowing that you are surrounded by harmonious souls, each one with their own chord of music, here to sing and contribute to their own song. And now you begin to notice there's these beautiful golden weaves of threads, just golden threads coming up out of the fire as if it's alive, as if it's coming out of the fire, and you have one coming directly to you. Feel, see, know as that golden thread begins to move towards you. Allow yourself to receive it as it begins to drop down through your crown chakra, entering your mind's eye, entering your third eye. If it has any messages or visions for you, go ahead and receive at this time. And let this weave of energy begin to weave into you new codes for your new timeline, for your part to play in all you're here to do. Feel as this energetic cord continues to move down through your throat and then connect to your heart. Allow it to sit in your heart and begin to weave together some type of shape or some type of thread created form that is specifically for you. Maybe you see a heart, maybe you see a bunny rabbit, maybe you see a crane, maybe you see the sun, maybe you see an instrument. Allow it to form something specifically for you, as only a thread can. And hold on to that memory. Look into it later or hold on to it and recognize if it means something for you. And now begin to see it as it continues to weave through your body, down through your torso, out of your feet, also connecting into Mother Gaia, contributing to her and reminding her what it is you're here to do, asking for guidance from her, asking for her to ask her to clear your path forward so that you can connect with your golden thread of timeline, so that you can follow the thread. And just allow yourself to feel as this golden thread continues to weave through your body. And now bring your attention up to your crown chakra and begin to see, God's showing me as if there's this white, sparkly, or almost like another spinning disc right on top of your crown chakra. And it's opening up almost like a flower would. And you might even see a specific flower, and whatever flower you see is specific for you. So look into that later. It will have a spiritual meaning. But see this flower opening over your crown chakra. And it begins to call to it. You begin to see these sprinkles of codes coming into it as if it's calling something to it. And as we're sitting here by this fireplace, allow yourself to look up to the sky and you begin to see the 3-eye Atlas comet going through. And whatever way you see it, there's no right or wrong way. You are the creator of your life, but allow yourself to see that beautiful golden comet, silver comet, pink comet, however it shows up for you. See it moving through the sky. And now see the energies coming from it towards you, directly towards you, and connecting to that flower on the top of your head, and then sprinkling down all of the codes into the thread that we've just weaved into you. Allow this energy to move through this code. Allow these codes to move through your body. Allow your body to feel as if it's being refreshed and reminded for all that you're here to do. And just take a moment, notice what you receive. Ask if there's any specific messages for you. Ask if there's anything you need to do for yourself at this time. Or just be open to receiving and feeling the energy as it moves through you and recodes you as it always does organically. Just be open to what it is you are receiving as you allow yourself to sit here by this fire, feeling the warmth of the fire on your face, hearing the crackle of the fire, and remember you are surrounded by like-minded souls, by beings who are here to support you. And you can come back to this anytime to connect to 3-eye Atlas or this golden thread to receive, to renew, and to remember. And now let's begin to disconnect ourselves so we can come back to where we are. So allow yourself to see the comet as it leaves the sky, comes out of you. See the flower on the top of your head, close up but remain there so it can continue to bring and offer you a renewal process. See the flower even sink into your mind's eye, into your third eye. Let it rest in your third eye. And then allow yourself to see this golden thread just dissipate into your body as it becomes part of you. Recognizing and knowing you can call in another one and you can continue to build on this so you can weave an entirely new tapestry for yourself. But for now, just let this dissipate. Let the codes go into any part of your body that you feel called. And take a moment and just send love, loving thoughts into any part of your body that might feel uncomfortable, any thoughts or any areas of your life that might need a little extra TLC. Take this moment now that you're activated to send this energy there. Just send love into it. Imagine love in whatever form it looks like for you, going into your body or into these situations, into your life. And then bring your attention back to where you are at the fireplace, feeling again the heat on your face, hearing the crackle of the fire, remembering you are surrounded by loved ones and friends, soul sisters and soul brothers who are here on a similar mission, but we must all return to what we came to do. So while you can come back to this fireplace at any time, for now, it's time to leave. So allow yourself to get up, shake hands with anyone you want to shake hands with. Make a telepathic connection to anyone you want to make a telepathic connection to, and call them into your life in whatever way you feel called. And then go ahead and turn away from the fire and begin to walk away. And as you walk away, you begin to step directly into your body and where you are now. So as you're walking away, you feel your right foot step into your right leg and wherever you're sitting. You feel your left foot step into your left leg and wherever you're sitting. You feel yourself seat yourself into the body of where it is you are sitting, completely restoring your consciousness to this moment in time and space of where you are within the physical, but bringing with you the codes that you just received. And trusting and knowing you can go back and receive or retrieve more at any time. It is your birthright. You are a soul having a human experience. All you need to do is connect to your soul. Allow yourself to feel fully the beingness of being in your body, feeling your arms, feeling your legs, feeling your neck, feeling your head, feeling the rise and the fall of your chest. Go ahead and wiggle your fingers. Bring your awareness to your eyes and your body. Feel the rise and the fall of your breath. And when you feel ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And for anybody who is tuning into this in the recording, we are going to go into Q&A. And again, I invite you to, if you're seeing this on YouTube, please go ahead and hit the like and the subscribe button to both Mikua's station, which is the Galactic Spin, and mine. We need to gather more together for these events so that we can grow together our consciousness and create a cohesiveness of harmony so that we can shift this world from the inside out. I would love to meet you in session. I would love to meet you in a class. I already remember your soul, and it would be an honor to put a face to it from this lifetime. Sending you all so much love. Until we meet again.